Well. Welcome here again. We have today one very special guest. That is, I think, one of the guys who make more videos for the community of AUC. He works a lot for all of us, and I have the pleasure to have you here and talk today. He comes from New York. He's a fantastic writer. If you have the chance, go to his channel. I'm going to give all the links here, and go there to see him what he do for all of us, what he create, the explanation. He give you all the details of each or EUC that comes in the market, and you can then have a nice opportunity to choose the right one for you. Hello, my friend. How are you? Thank you for
And
coming.
thank you for the invite, Nelson. This is it's interesting. I always love to talk to people from outside of the country, from Europe, just to understand what the writing culture is like elsewhere.
Yeah, thank you very much. First of all, like always, I want to tell to everybody today is a different style of the life because we are now in YouTube and in Facebook, in two places from Facebook, from the community No Limits to Ride Electric. Then, if you are one of from the our groups, because we have the No Limits to Ride Electric normal, and we have a No Limits to Ride Electric just for girls and queens. And if you are there, then you can see live. We have the three platforms working for all of us. So, my friend, first of all, like always, I is always the first question I make to how start this magic for you.
I'm not sure it's magic, but well, I mean, I always loved technology, and I used to rollerblade a lot, so I always like vehicles and getting around the city. I haven't owned a car for years and years, so and again, like bicycled, I like snowboard, I like all this sport that has to do with getting from one place to another. So when I saw someone riding an electric unicycle several years ago on the street, I saw them flying by. I'm like, I don't know what that is, but I need that. Like, I need that right now. So I went home, looked up what it was, and then from there I just start trying to figure it out.
Yeah, that is a fantastic way. And how was the first contact with you with EUC?
So I started out with I did a lot of research online. I was on the EUC forum reading up, and I remember the thing that made the biggest impression was actually when I first saw Tishon Fahey, who is a
Hmm.
YouTuber here in New York City. Like,
Hmm.
when I saw his video, I was really blown away because like, he just has this really stylish way of making his videos. Like, he has this awesome shot, like at night, then riding around. It just seems so like cool. So, I really was very interested in getting into that culture, but it took me some time. I wanted to take things slow. I started with this very small electric scooter called the IPS i5, which I don't think you can even buy nowadays
Hmm.
anymore. It's a slow wheel. It max out at 12 miles an hour. I think that's what is that, 15 kilometers an hour. So it's a very slow wheel, but it was very light and it was easy to learn on. So I got that and I rode it for 3 months, I think. So for 3 months, all I was doing was just riding that EUC everywhere I went. It was a lot of fun, and then I wanted to buy a Z10. That was the wheel I really wanted, and that was really hard. Like, it was, there was a very long wait. I put money down for it, and I waited, I think, 3 months before it was actually delivered because there was a lot of delay with production and this and that. But then I finally got it, and it was like one of the most exciting thing ever. And I think one of the earliest video I made was me like actually unboxing the Z10. So
Yeah, that is fantastic. And do you in when you started, do you think you're going to be like today? Because today you are one of the persons who has the voice for helping the communities of AUC. Yeah, you are laughing, but that is the truth. Most of the people know you very well, love your videos, and you explain it. You make range, you make test it, like the other video. You show things that happen to the boards. You are not always the positive way. If you have something you have to say, you're going to say it. That I think that is very good in one YouTuber.
Thank
And
you.
I think that is important. Do you think in the beginning, you think you're going to be like today, so
No,
big like today?
no, not at all. I had no plan to be even a YouTuber, as they would say, because
Hmm.
I just really didn't think about it. Like in the beginning, I always liked photography,
Hmm.
and I really enjoy. I always like cameras. I always like to take photos, make videos, and this and that. And in the very beginning, this was a way for me to practice on how to speak, actually, because I didn't feel like I was very good with speaking, so I wanted to find some way to practice that. So I figured this would be a good fun thing for me to do if I have a chance to talk about something that I really enjoy. So that's how I started making the videos, and it kind of went from there.
Like you guys, if you are new in a channel, you're going to have the chance to go to his first of all, I think we don't need so much to speak about him, but it's always good to tell what is a, you can go to his Facebook. There you can see something, and you have his Instagram. I'm going to leave all the links here, and then you go to his channel, YouTube channel. In there, you're going to see a lot of videos, explanations for you, all of you, to understand how that works. Sometimes he asks from other things, like what you can use as cameras, like information that we need for us every day to use. And why, my friend, you use, you say, okay, I want a USA because you AUC, because you have your hands free. Is the explanation for you to say, okay, not a skateboard, electro skateboard, or one wheel, because one wheel is very used in America too.
Um, well, the problem, like the thing with one wheel is that there's a lot of limitation on how fast you can go, and there's also a limitation on the range that you can go. So I think like if you actually compare the performance of what you can get on an electric unicycle versus a one wheel, at least for me, the choice seems obvious that you want something that has much more range and much more speed and capabilities. And also, there's a lot more varieties of wheels that you can choose. Like if you like a one wheel, there's just one choice. You buy a one wheel and that's it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why. And I actually didn't even seriously consider buying a one wheel because, again, when you compare them side by side, it seems like you're paying the same price. It's $2,000 also. So why would you buy something that is less capable? So that's kind of why I went with the EUC.
That was just here a question. That is, what year was this that you started?
Oh,
Because you have.
I started in 2018. That was like 2018 was actually a really good year for EUC because that year, we had the, Galway MSX. That was like the first 50 miles per hour wheels that you can buy. And then we had the Z10. And then we had, I think, the V, the King Sound 18XL, and then we also had the Invotion like V10, I think. So there was a lot of wheel relief released that year, and there was a lot of very good wheels. So it was a really amazing years. and there were so many wheels that people were so excited about, especially the Z10. Like I remember when I came in, there was just such a hype, about this wheel that was about to be released, and how like everyone thought that Ninebot was never going to make another electric unicycle, and then they made one. Like I still remember one of the YouTuber here, Chris, whom I am a friend with. Like he is like one of the most knowledgeable like electric unicycle rider I know. And I remember seeing that he was so excited he actually traveled to the consumer trade show just to see this wheel, in like Chicago. Like he flew across the country just to get the chance to see this wheel. So it's very there's my fall. Yeah.
But that is the good thing. You bring all the stuff to your videos. You are not just to put the beautiful things. You show that we can hurt ourselves if you don't have a little safety, and that is electric. Electric, you will always have to be attention. It can always something happen, or with us or with the machine, but that is not today. What do you think from the time you started from today, the evolution was big, or do you think we need a lot to achieve to come to a perfect board, a
Oh, I
perfect?
think so. It's so very very. I mean, I can't say enough about how much like the world of EUC changed within the last 2 years. Like when I first got in, like 3 years ago, like EUC was a very small niche. Like very few people are into it. It's like nobody knows about it. Like if I ride down the street, I remember someone like, I stop at a light, someone like asked me if I made the wheel. They said, did you make that? I said, no, I bought it. They said, they sell that? They're like nobody knew what it was. It was a very, very niche thing. And people kind of like they think about it that way. Like, for example, a lot of the things that we talk about, today, a lot of the problems with the wheels, like waterproofing, oh, things overheat and these and that. At the time, they just thought, they were like, well, this is an experimental thing, so we'll work on it, we'll deal on it. It's part of it's part of the experience of riding an EUC, that the wheel would cut out, you will fall and hurt yourself, so you have to be careful. The expectation is just very different versus now. It seems like an EUC, it's much more closer to this thing that it's a product that someone could go and buy, and without too much knowledge about it. Like before, 3 years ago, it's like if you don't know anything about it, it's very difficult for you to buy one, and you wouldn't even be able to. It's hard to even figure out how to learn it because there's not a lot of videos. Like now, there's all these channels and there's all these people who are writing it. Like before, there was none of it. It was very rare.
Yeah, that's why I think when you have like your videos, you are one of the first ones with the guys. There's two or three guys from New York who started the same thing. There's not so many riders now. There's more, but you have now close to 3 years of experience, and then you can share it with the guys who are starting, because now it's very difficult for us to choose the right one. Sometimes I see I'm a guy, I'm interested to buy the Sherman,
Mm-hmm.
uh, but there is friends from me say no, you have to buy the other one, and sometimes I'm in a bad situation because everybody likes a different one,
Uh-huh.
and when you ask, everybody gives his opinion, and everybody say that's why I think to go to you and see your videos, and then maybe you have uh, you explained that so well that maybe I can decide that for me what is the best for me, because it's not the best for everyone is different. I think every
Mm-hmm.
weight, the way style, how many miles do you going to make for a day. I think that there is different today you have different options for you to say, okay, I want this or I like this. For you, what is the important thing? Is lots of miles that you can achieve, or speed, or the two things together?
It's really, I mean, I would say that everyone has very different like priorities, like you said. And it's a combination of factors. It's not, it's what kind of rider you are. Do you ride very fast? Do you like to, have lots of speed? Or do you, like to ride really long distance? Because everyone said, oh, I want to have more range. I want to have more range. But, will you actually ride 100 kilometer? I mean, that's,
Yeah.
4 hours of you just riding nonstop. That's very tiring. And also, it's expensive. You have to buy a wheel that had that much battery, but it's also very heavy. So
Mhm.
there's penalty for buying like, a Sherman because it has the range, but it's, expensive and heavy. So you end up, if you don't need to have that much range or that much speed, you can get a much more, appropriate wheel. You could get a wheel that have suspension versus the Sherman doesn't have suspension. So, you can buy like, for example, like the V11 that has a much better headlights. So if you ride a lot at night, then that's a better wheel. So I think that's the other thing that's great with the EUC market today is that you have a lot more choices. Like you can have, much like one wheel is very different from another. Like if the S18 is really really good for off road, versus like the Sherman if you want to have really really fast. But the question you have to ask is, will you actually go very very fast? If you're not going to ride above 30, 35 miles an hour or, 40 kilometers an hour, there's no reason why you want to buy a big, heavy, expensive wheels like that because it's going to be harder to ride slower.
Yeah, I think so. Because if you buy a Sherman, you're going to have like a Panzer, a tank, because it's
Yes.
very, 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 very heavy.
Yeah.
Uh, for you, in a moment, what are you riding now? In a moment, what are you trying in a moment?
I am lucky enough to have access to multiple wheels. I my primary wheel that I always ride is still the Monster, the original Monster V3.
Yeah.
I like the big tire because it's very stable. Like when you ride it, it like it's very difficult for that wheel to get shaken. It doesn't
Okay.
wobble a lot. So a lot of time when you hit a pothole, when you hit a bump accidentally without looking, it's the wheel is stable, and I like that because a lot of time I have a camera on me, and I'm thinking about how to film myself. I'm thinking about what to say, and it's good to have the security of having a solid, stable wheel as a platform to make videos. So that's actually a huge driver in the wheels that I like to choose personally. I also I also recently riding the V11.
Mhm.
Um, so which is nice. It has a very cushy, very soft suspension, and that's nice. And but honestly, I haven't really ridden either wheel as much lately within the last few weeks. I actually have been riding the Z10, and the reason for that is that it's been snowing here in New York a lot, and when it snow, they put a lot of salt on the ground. So there's
Yeah.
just a lot of salt, there's a lot of slush, and any wheels that is not sealed really well will have problem. And the Z10 is still the best sealed and waterproof wheel that I have. So it's the one wheel that I'm not worried about when I drive it right into the snow and get salt all over the thing, versus something else, I'd be very concerned. So like lately, I really just been riding the Z10 because of that.
Yeah, and for all of you guys, maybe you don't know that as information, what they give to us, salts. If you have salts in the streets, they're going to damage today or tomorrow your cars, your a scooters, everything. Salts is the worst thing who can reach to metal and something like that, and to the electronic. If you catch salt is going to eat everything. That's why what he's telling, you have to have AUC that is protect, that is not going to destroy his machine, because these machines, they are expensive today, very expensive.
Yeah, I can't, like, I think I have a personal phobia against salt because for years and years I was driving the Piaggio MP3. I
Hmm.
had that scooter. And every single winter I would drive it around, and then at least once a week I would drive it back to my parents' house, and I would use a hose and I would wash it to try to get the salt off, but it wasn't enough. Like 1 year, I remember the center stand, which is like a steel pipe this thick,
Hmm.
rusted all the way through, and it just snapped. And I remember like looking at it and just like, oh my god, this is terrible. This is, I don't, it's what it's doing to my scooter. But this is what I always think about. And like, if it can eat through a steel pipe, like this thick, like what can it do to our electric unicycle? So I'm always scared.
My friend, let's talk about this here. That is a
Mm-hmm.
company that work with you together.
Mm-hmm.
You can talk about it, my friend. Here we are
Yes.
free. I think.
This is my friend Mike who runs a shop in Canada actually. He like contacted me one day. He said, "Hey, do you do sponsorship?" And I mean, I do a little bit, but not a lot. But he said, "Hey, I'm starting up a new shop. I was thinking about have support sponsoring your video." And I said, "Sure, why not?"
I think
So
that is
that's
fantastic.
yeah, so that's how it starts. He's actually a really cool guy. Like I usually when I start a sponsorship, like I want to get to know the person to make sure that whoever is supporting me, they're not running like a bad shop. So, but he was a really solid guy. Like I think I had a hour long conversation. And he was telling me about his background and why he got into EUC, which is like this is the thing that I really enjoy because having a channel and having a voice in the community give me an opportunity to meet a lot of people I never would otherwise. So that's
That
the
is
thing I
very true.
really like.
That is very true, my friend. That's why I have this today. That is like a bless for me. I started this as a joke.
Hmm.
Believe it. I start to help the community, and today I'm learning so much with every day, every new person who comes here, that I don't want to leave it. That is like I'm enjoying this so much to have the pleasure to have always different person. And first of all, guys, for all of you, we don't I don't receive no money, nobody is paying. That I tell all to everybody who comes to the channel, that nobody understand, that is a free chat. Is a rider, this channel is for riders. Is if he puts like this company, I put it the Go Wheels, I think he help this rider. I think we have to talk about this company because I think is helping the companies who help the riders, is companies we have always to talk about it. And I hope you have a chance, go to the Go Wheels and try to buy something, because if you say he's a fantastic guy, I think he's a person we can trust. You just have to see his videos and you're going to understand you are with the right person, and he's sending you for the right place. My friend, another thing, you have a hat there. That this hat is a very
Armor.
special hat. Yes, that is from a very special company that I love. I'm a good friend from Daniel.
Hmm.
Uh, can you talk about as his safety for everybody's there? Lazy Rollings.
Yeah, I gotta say that they are, they were nice enough to send me a jacket for me to try, and I had a good amount of time, like, wearing it and testing it. They have really good product, and I appreciate that. I also appreciate the all the things that they do to support the community, and the thing that I want to reiterate is that unlike a lot of the other type of sports like snowboarding, skiing, or what have you, where the
Hmm.
company that makes the product does a lot of the marketing. EUCs, they don't, like none of like King Song, Emotion, and especially Gotway, they do very little to market the sport. They just make the wheel and they sell it.
Yeah.
So all of the onus on marketing, getting everyone to be aware of what these sports are and how to get into it and making videos and all of this like are all usually supported by the distributor, like the company that sell these wheels. And it's and I have to say it's not a hugely profitable business because a lot of the wheels have require a lot of support after the sale. So like this is why like I really appreciate the things that company like Go Wheel Canada or even eWheel, who's the
Mm-hmm.
biggest company here in the US. I appreciate what they do because they're like without them, like for instance, like I bought my first wheel from eWheel and I would have never gotten into electric unicycle if it weren't for the fact that they are a reputable dealer here in the
Mm-hmm.
US. Because if it weren't for them, then you would have to buy it from like Alibaba, from a Chinese dealer. And I'm just like, at the time when I was first getting in, I'm like, $2,000. You want me to send this to some random shop in China? I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna get any. Am I gonna get a box back filled with rocks? So it's good to have people who have solid reputation and putting the work. And this is why like I want to support companies like then as well as Lazy Rolling, who is they made a product specifically just for us, and we're not a big community, so it's a lot of work that they're putting in to support us.
Yeah, you have to think like this. What he's saying, yeah, is right, because I think the problem from AUC is most of them is private sellers who sponsor the riders, is not direct the companies. In Europe is the same. We have a person in Di Molata as his wheels shop in UK, and he's the only guy who supports the riders who make content in YouTube. That is the only way that he can put out for the market to show what he's selling. And I think the companies, the big companies, the brands, they have to maybe start to help more the writers who make content in YouTube, because you explain, all of you, as so lots of work. I always tell to everybody here, making YouTube videos, that is lots of work. Nobody knows how many hours you have to
Right.
take to cut at a video, put it all together to make a fantastic video to come out for everybody to say, oh, that was a very good video. That is lots of work. And I think the brands, for all of them, not just for you, for say electro skateboards, for one wheels, everybody who makes contents for them, why don't help a little with something? Because I think that will be the right way for you guys. Because how many hours do you lose in a week to make a video, my friend?
It's it's a lot. You have to be a little bit crazy to be doing this. Like I remember someone telling me that like on average, like it's an hour per minute of the videos you make. And I know for me it's actually even more than that. So it's just super time consuming. So
Yeah. I have here a question. Maybe you can answer. Hello, do you think that big goats go away MSP? I don't know. It's
oh
a good city. AUC.
so Gotway or Bigot, they're in an interesting position. Because as some of you guys, including the people watching this video, may be aware of that there has been a lot of controversy, and I talked about it in one of my recent video about the fire that their wheel has been going through. My perception from talking to a lot of people is that um, the build qualities, the quality control of the wheels that they have been selling lately within the last few months has been pretty bad. And they never were known for good build qualities, but lately it seems to have gotten bad.
That's
So
the video.
that's
That's
the yeah. So it's to answer your question. It's a two-part answer. Part one is that yes, I think it's a good city wheel to ride. It's very fast. It get you to a lot of places very quickly. But here's the but. That's not a wheel that as a beginner you should buy because it's harder to ride, it's harder to maintain, and having a really high top speed can get you in trouble very quickly because very few of us have experience riding, on a unicycle doing 45 miles an hour. And it's a very particular things that I think people should be very careful about. I know like a lot of time people starting out they get very excited. They're like, "Oh, I want to get this I want to get the Sherman. It seems like it's super fast and everything." Like the thing that people kind of need to understand is that riding an EUC, it's a sport. It's a straight up sport. You get tired from riding an EUC. It takes a lot of athleticism to ride a wheel properly. It takes a lot of skill, and if you don't have all the proper gear, having all the proper skill, having a very fast wheel could potentially get you hurt. It's just like it's this is why like it's something that you have to be careful of. Again, I think the MSP high speed could potentially be a good wheel, but you have to really understand. Like you have to be familiar with EUC, you have to know what to check for. You can buy that wheel. Yeah, you can buy that wheel, but you have to be fully aware of the potential problems that you're getting yourself into. If you're not if you never gotten an EUC before, I would say that you should not buy a Gotway. Like it
okay.
should not be your first wheel.
First of all, Godway is very powerful machines, and before I was want to buy the Godway, and now we have a new one in the market is the Pro and the Monster Pro, and
Yep.
we're going to talk about this because there is a question here, and we're going to show it. Uh, do you love from Queens any of the, the from your last video?
Mm-hmm.
Let's try to put it here the video out at everybody to see it, and you can answer in the same time. Just let me put it here out. Yes, now we have it.
Mm-hmm.
Can you? What is this love for Queens? First of all, Queen is
uh,
Queens is the other side from New York. Yes.
Yeah, Queens is one of the outer. It's one of the borough of New York City. Is I actually grew up in Queens as well, and specifically in a town in Queens called Forest Hills, which I always like to tell people. Forest Hills is also where Spider-Man is born. So he there's actually an address that you can look up where Spider-Man Peter Parker was born,
Uh-huh.
and I think it's only like 4 blocks from the house I grew up in. So
Then you miss it.
right, so
The
this is
spider was close to you and touched the other guy, not you.
right. And my parents still live there. That's why I still go visit all the time. So going back to the Monster Pro, and you know, my thought on that hasn't changed. Like the problem with that wheel specifically is that um controller on Gotway wheels unfortunately has a tendency when they're pushed over their limit to burn like fire, come out
Okay.
of the bore. And like I think, yeah, I have the video of showing what it looked like when a bore burned. In the past, there's a
Okay.
little bit of distance between the bore and the battery. But in the new Monster Pro, there is nothing. They're right up against each other. It's really, really tight. And as you know, when the battery pack burns, it's very, very bad. I can't say enough how bad it is. Like, the whole thing would go up. You can't put it out with the water because lithium reacts with water. And if you pour water on a burning battery pack, you will make it burn even more. Like
Yeah.
it's a very bad and difficult thing. So having a fire, potential fire next to a battery pack, it's like you smoking at a gas station. Like it's dangerous. It's not a smart thing to do. It's like if you smoke at a gas station, is it going to burn every time? No, it's not going to burn every time, but it's not a smart thing to do. So this is why. Like, so my recommendation for the Monster Pro right now is basically until they come up with a way of making sure that the wheel is safe, you shouldn't buy it. It's a lot of money. It's a very, very expensive wheel. Like here in the US, it's $3,500. If you're
Yeah.
spending that much money on a wheel, you shouldn't have to worry about it burning down your house.
Hmm.
Like that's a crazy thing for you to have to worry about. Like I don't think that should be a worry for anything, but especially for this thing that you just pay a lot of money for. So I
You
think
like to you like to have your safety.
yes, I think it's absolutely important, and also from like a community, and as a community, having a fire incident like this is very dangerous for the whole sport because I don't know if you're aware of it, but hover wheel, which is like the two-wheel balancing thing,
Hmm.
is banned in the US because of
Oh.
this. Because there has been several fire and people lost their house, so someone sued, and then the government say this is not safe. This is burning people's house down, and they banned it like blanket. No one is allowed to buy or sell one, and that killed the entire sport. So it's not just a problem with the Monster Pro or just with Godway. It's a problem for everybody because if someone's got hurt, God forbid, if someone you know
Something
like
happened.
yeah, if something really bad happened, the government is not going to just say okay, it's fine, we'll forget about it. No, there's going to be laws made, and it's going to like affect not just Godway but like the entire EUC field. Like
The
I
community.
yeah, exactly. So this is a very important. This is why, like, I want to keep talking about this because I want to make sure that the manufacturer understand that this is a very, very important concern, and that they have to come up with a way. They have to come up with a solution. They sent an email, like they sent this letter, a few weeks ago, said we understand people are concerned, when we're looking into it. So I want to hold them to that. I don't, it's good that you're saying this, but
Hmm.
I want an answer. I
Do
want
it.
an answer after a little bit of time. I want to see an answer. I want to see action.
Yeah.
I want you to tell me what you did to make the wheel safer and
Hmm.
to make sure that it's not going to burn. Like it,
And prove it.
right. Like
And
we're not
prove it.
going to just forget about this, So that's one of the problem. The other problem is a lot of people probably heard about this already, which is the bearing. With the
Okay.
hollow core motor, a lot of the bearings are going bad. Um, and it's a serious problem. Like if the bearing goes bad, it starts to slows down, it gets rusty. Um, and as a matter of fact, I think Fantomas, who's a writer in
Hmm.
Russia, made a video yesterday
Hmm.
talking about how angry he was with the whole bearing situation. And I mean, he's probably one of the biggest and most skillful, Gotway wheel rider. And for
Hmm.
him to come out and say this, it's a big deal. Um, and it's because of all of these reasons, like in my opinion, right now it's a bad idea for anyone to buy a Gotway because again, you're spending a lot of money, but you're buying a thing that potentially get rusty, is not waterproof, and then can burn. Like it seems like it doesn't make sense.
And for you guys who are there, that is a very important thing. We have to be careful. First of all, you are in America, in USA, you are okay. The laws are not bad for you guys. But if these companies don't try to fix these problems, you're going to lose everything like us here in Germany. In Germany, you cannot ride it, guys. In US, you can enjoy it. You can have fun. That's why don't leave these companies alone. They have to fix it because then you're going to have lots of problems. And if you have a problem, here in Germany, before you can ride this. What's the name? This with the two
The
wheels like this.
hoverboard.
Hoverboards. Today is you cannot ride it. Not because you cannot ride it, is because of the safety of the batteries. They don't take care of the safety of the batteries, and in Germany they close the doors for all of them,
Right.
and that is a bad thing for me. I have one here in my house for my kid, but you cannot find it. You have to go to Alibaba and ask it, and then it's going to be yourself. That's
Right.
why I think it's like this. If they're asking so many money for one technology, I think they want to go faster and faster and say, okay, if this board can do lots of miles, I have this my board have to do the same miles, and they forget, okay, but is that going to work everything together? I think they don't ask that. They just put it out and they say, okay, we have to go like chairman. We have to do a board like chairman. Have to be so fast and have to be the same range, and they forget about the safety. And safety batteries, like you tell, is very, very a big problem, because when they start to explode, that is a bad situation.
Yeah, like it's just like I can't, overemphasize how important it is to have, at least battery safety because, like you said, the hoverboard, like I mean, it's once the government says, okay, you're not supposed to have this, right? Like let's say if your house, again, if you had a fire, like what would happen? Like even if nobody got hurt, you go to the insurance company, the insurance company would say, "You're not supposed to have this. I'm not paying for your house because you had this thing that was illegal. So it's
Yeah.
your responsibility to pay for your house burning down." And then your neighbor said, "Oh, your thing cost, so you have to pay for my house too." It's just
Yeah.
like it's a really bad thing for us to ever get near. So it's a very important thing, and then I think one of the great things with the EUC community is, again, we have a very strong community. We all ride
and,
together. Everyone
and
has
very
a lot
big.
of visibility, and we all talk on the chat. So it's important for like everyone to make sure that anyone new who is coming in understand what these issues are. I mean, I know, I appreciate the fact that a lot of people watch my video, but I know there's also a lot of other people that don't. They maybe they saw someone else's video, or maybe they just saw it on someone else writing on the street and they wanted one. It's important for us to talk to all the new people and make sure that they understand, what are the risks, because it's this is something go bad will affect all of us. Even if it's a brand new person, they don't know, they buy a Godway, it burned their house down, that's going to affect us because they're going to go to their insurance company, and then their insurance company going to go to the government and just said, why is this thing being sold? So it's important that we spread the awareness, that we let everyone know, what to stay away from and what are the important things that you should be aware of.
Yeah, and what you think about because in a moment these companies like USC, they are all in China. It's very difficult for you to make a process to make go to court, because they don't have nothing in USA.
It's going to be very, I wouldn't even say that's the problem, like right now. Like, yes, it's a problem that there's no way for you to hold them like liable.
Hmm.
Not that, again, like the same issue exists for just about anything, because
Yeah. Yeah.
It's if you want to go after like Volkswagen because you had a car, it's you're gonna have a hard time because they have really expensive lawyers, I'm sure. So
They
it
don't. They have the laws. They help him. That's the problem.
right. So I don't even think it's that. I think it's more like it's important for the company, the EUC company, to recognize that the sports, like, EUC is growing. Like, they're not just selling like a few hundred, they're selling thousands and thousands of wheels, and they're making money, which is good. But that also means that they have a responsibility to raise the level of
Mhm.
quality, so that they're selling a better product. They can't just be like, okay, we're just going to do the same thing and make the same, mistake, and then more people would just buy it. Like, that's not the right way for them to think about it.
And how you guys are working in the moment in USA to try to solve it that together with the companies. There is like I don't know what's the name for you in guys like there is a USC committee or something like you and the guys talk together and write to the companies how that works for you guys there, because here in Europe, if you want to contact something, you have to open like a club, and then from this club you have your rights. Then you can contact these companies and say, okay, can we work and change the rules, or we can say, okay, that is not okay, you have to change it, or we're going to do something about it, or you have to prove it to us that you are doing something.
The um the way that, I am aware of that most of the communication going to the EUC company is done via the distributor, the dealers.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because again, they're the one who has, not only the relationship with the companies, but also because they have the money. They're the one who's giving the money to the companies, so
Hmm.
they get to say, all right, we're having all these problems. We're not going to buy any more wheels from you until I see solutions. And it's just like, I think the companies, some of them may be less willing to listen to the consumer, but when it comes to the dealer, they have no choice because the dealers are the one that are the one in the middle. So this is the other reason why, I want to make sure that we support the local dealers, because they're the one who has to, provide the warranty. They have to be the one who interact with the company to make sure that they kind of fight for our benefit, so
Hmm.
that we get a better product. Um, at the same time, I think a lot of the companies, a few of the companies like Emotion and King Son, I think there's a recognition on their part. Like, I think they understand. They're starting to see that, the community is growing, and that this is could be something like, as great, as excited as I am about where we are today. I think, like, this year, next year, it's going to be like even more. It's going to be there. The potential for us to grow is so much more, because my personal belief, and I'm sure I'm incredibly
Hmm.
biased, is that when it comes to personal electric vehicles, I think the EUC is like one of the best options, because it's very convenient. It's small. You can push it around really easily. I can go into a store easily. It fit underneath my desk, but it has faster speed, more capacity, and it has a higher performance. And also, because of the big wheel, it's safer, because you don't have to worry about the small wheels on the scooter hitting a bump and knocking you off. The only problem, the only challenge that comes from riding an EUC is that it's just harder to learn. It takes a little bit more skill to know how to ride. But I think, like, people can learn how to do that. A bicycle is not an easy thing to learn how to ride, but people learn to ride a bicycle because they recognize the benefit of having a bicycle. The same thing with EUC. I think in time people would recognize that, this is a better thing than their little scooters, and then they would take the time and they would convert over. So the potential for how big EUC can be is huge. There's so much more potential to grow beyond where we even are now today.
I always tell to my friends, I'm a guy who I make lots of rides, lots of events here in Europe, and in the last 5 6 months, when I start to ride the AUC, I think the AUC is the future. My friends always what are you telling? No, skateboard is better, one wheel is better. I ride everything, but
Hmm.
I think that is the best. If you ask me, for me as a rider, I think AUC is the future for many reasons, like you said, and that is the future for you to go off-road city. If you want to go work, if you want to go shopping, that is easy to move it. If you have a skateboard, it's not so easy. If you have a one wheel is not easy. Maybe they can change it. I'm not against. I love one wheel, I love skating, but I think the future for me, I think the future is the AUC. For the people who don't know, AUC is electro unicycles. That's what we are talking today here. That's why you have this special person here, because I'm loving to listen to you, because you are explaining uh, to everybody what we have to be careful, what we have. We are not talking that the company is not good. There is mistakes. All the companies can make mistakes, and if we can work all together, we can fix it. That the problem not going to be very big, and then we're going to lose our freedom. That's the important thing. We want to be free. We want to ride. We want to enjoy, and these companies has to listen to you and has to listen to me, not so much because I'm not so big a rider that you. And the communities of AUC, they are growing very, very fast, and they are very good together. They work very good together. That's why, my friend, I want to see just one thing, because I don't want to lose here the questions. There is a person who will make a question here. Thank you for having here in your show. A question for you: is the go way going to way of busted with the
Boosted with the extreme
extreme
bull.
ball? That's, I don't understand it.
Well, I'm not sure. I guess, like, I mean, boosted went out of business, I guess, because
Boosted is closed, is
yeah,
out, my
they're
friend. That
closed.
is that is a electro skateboard, and they are closed about 2 years. They close the doors because they make lots of mistakes, and they don't listen to the customers. They don't listen to the YouTubers, and today they are closed.
Well, so I have a slightly different perspective point of view on boosted, and I think everyone kind of, nobody could really agree why they failed. But one thing I do know is that, they make a product that people love. Even a lot of the people who I ride with, they don't even ride an electric skateboard anymore, but they still have their boosted. They said, this is the one board that I really love, but it doesn't have enough range. They never made it better. They keep releasing the same thing. Um, and then they made the scooter, and then people
That was the
complained.
mistake.
They people said, they lost their focus. They should be, making a better, skateboard. But I personally think this, right? So they sold out of their skateboard. They didn't have enough. They sold out of their scooter. They didn't have enough. They sold out of everything. Like, they didn't have enough of a product to sell. Unlike, if you run a store and you sold out everything and you're still losing money, like, the problem isn't the product. The problem is that you're
Yeah,
not managing your store. Somehow, how do you sell out everything and still lose money? Like, that doesn't make sense to me. So I feel like there is some kind of, like, management issue in the background that we don't know about. I don't think that, even the scooter. I think the scooter, is fine. I think it was very popular. There was like a 6-month wait time to buy the scooter. Like, it's just I'm confused as to why they fail, but whatever it is, I don't think it's because their product wasn't good enough.
I
It's
think
just.
what I understand for the guys I ask, the only reason they give me, they ask lots of money to lots of people invest in the company because of this scooter, and that was too much money. And in end, the selling of the scooter was not as planned, and then one mistake come together with the others, and because they don't release some evolution to the boards, maybe they stop always in the same, because they say our board is fantastic, was fantastic, the board was very good. If
Hmm.
you see Casey Neistat as one of the guys who make more propaganda for this board in the world, around the world, and is I think we cannot compare two companies like the Gotway and Busted Board. That is two different companies, two different styles, and I think they are not going to happen the same. I think the big problem here is in a skateboard is lots of companies are closing the doors, and they are big companies, and that is the big problem. Everybody's afraid. Oh, happened to them. The problem from skateboards, like I always tell to my friends, I love my skateboard. That is not the subject here today, but for my friends, sometimes they don't like to listen to this, but it's like this. Guys, watch it with your videos out. Don't do stupid things. There is lots of countries are shutting us out because of the stupid videos you do on the streets. Don't do stupid things. Enjoy your rides. And then the companies, they're going to close because they cannot sell it. It's going to be very difficult. And in Germany, closed one of them this year. That was the Mellow board, and
Hmm.
it's going to close more if you don't have if you don't watch it. I think like this, and what we can change. I think with the AUC, we're going to be for all of us. I think it's going to be very nice. It's going to be very good for all of us. And like this, you say that the problem from the USC is you take lots of time to learn. Do you think that's you yourself? Do you think that is difficult when you show to a friend from you? How many time take a friend from you to learn how to start to ride AUC?
I think, like, I mean, comparing to, let's say, like an electric scooter, which is like, I mean, you don't even need, like, you can just give it to somebody, and then, like, you see the little kids riding a like a scooter around. Like, it doesn't take a lot to learn. Like, versus an EUC, like, you can't just give it to somebody and have they ride it. Like, they have to spend time to learn how to ride. Like the first, like, and it some people pick it up quick, some people take more time, but you need at least a few hours to kind of get comfortable and learn how to ride. Versus, again, if you're talking about like a scooter, just about anybody could get on and ride around. So.
I think like this. I was alone in my house. I was with the AUC, and I was starting always with the walls,
Hmm.
and then I was in Belgium, and the Belgium they are very there is the Belgic one wheelers. That
Hmm.
is one of the best groups in Europe. And in 5 minutes, the guy came to me and say, "Hey, you want to learn? Come to me. I'm going to show you how to do it." And how he tell me to do it, it changed me a very. I think about in 15 minutes I start to ride it. And before I was doing everything wrong. I
Hmm.
think that is very important for you riders who want to start to go to a person who knows how to ride. It can help you and say, that is the way you're going to learn. Don't try to do yourself, because it's going to be like me. I spent about 2 weeks in my home. I damaged my foot, and I was like, "Oh, that is not for me. I'm going to maybe I'm not going to do it." And then I see a guy who knows how to do it, and he say, "You do it like this." And in 15 minutes, I was riding. I say, "That is not possible."
I think this is one of the great things with the EUC community, and it's interesting because I feel like, I've done a lot of other type of sports, and there's not too many that have as strong of a community as the EUC, because one advantage we have is that we all get around really easily and very
Mm-hmm.
quickly. Like I seen more of the people I ride with than like my best friend, because when I talk to my best friend and say, hey, want to come and hang out, and he's like, the drive, it's kind of a long drive, I gotta take the subway, versus people I knew who ride in EUC, like I can just say, oh, let's meet here, 5 minutes, everyone is there, because it
Mm-hmm.
takes you 5 minutes to it's you're very quick. So it's like I see those guys like all the time as a result. So I think because of that, like it's easier for there to be a community, and everyone is really into it, and and I know this is the case with a lot of other places, but it's also the same with New York City. We're all tight, and everyone are all like very enthusiastic, and people are happy to teach someone new, who's interested. And again, like one of the best way for you to start is if you just buy a used wheel. Like I keep saying this, buy a used wheel. If you're in the community, just ask around and just say, hey, is there a used wheel I can buy? You can buy one for cheap. You can throw it around and not worry about crashing it, because it's used. You bought it used, it's fine. And then they'll teach you how to ride it. And then when you're ready, when you're comfortable, then you can buy a new wheel that then you don't have to worry about dropping it as much. Like the great thing with the EUC like world today is that there is a community just about every single city. A lot of places I didn't think that there's a community. There's a community. So like you can meet people and have them help you. Like that's the best thing. Like when I started, like there was nobody around because there's just didn't exist. So now like you should totally take advantage of that, and then leverage the people that you meet.
Yeah, I just want to give my opinion, and we are coming close to the end of that. That is very fast. That is like, because so my friend, because of, the big problem for me, safety is very important. The people who don't like the electro device, they're going to use just one thing to destroy you. They don't care about if it's 10 or 20. They're not going to wait for that. They're just going to wait for one or two things who's going to force to destroy this. That's why we have to be careful and don't lose the focus. We have to be very fast and work with, like him, like he told. We have to work direct with the company and say, hey, stop it, that is not the right way. Because if the government going to put a law, when they put a law that you cannot more ride it or you cannot more sell it, then it's very difficult for you to take this law away.
Yeah, it's and the only way, like, there's the company, because they're China, they unfortunately they don't pay that much attention. Like
Mm-hmm.
I remember I reached out to Gotway, like a little while back, and I said, I'm a YouTuber, I write in EUC, I write your wheel, and and their
Yeah.
response is, we don't watch YouTube, so we don't know who you are. So like that was the response. So the the thing that the
This
only
is
thing,
good.
yeah,
Sorry, my friend. This
that's all
is
right.
that's a stupid answer. Sorry, that is the respect for the customer. It's like, oh, I don't use, I don't watch YouTube. Okay, thank you very much.
I mean, the great thing with EUC growing so quickly is that they are making so many sales that they feel like you're gonna buy from me, doesn't matter what. Like they have this attitude where it's just like they feel that they're always right and you're wrong, because they're like, if you don't buy from me, someone else will. There's a waiting list. I could go away and then someone else will buy.
Yes,
So the
yes.
only way for them to listen is that if they see their sales impacted. If
Hmm.
if we all said, okay, this is not acceptable, I not like we none of us should buy a wheel that burns, then they would say, okay, that's a problem we have to fix. Until they see the sales drop, they're not going to fix it. This is why, like, I think it's important for everyone to be aware, and for us to all be together and work together.
Yeah, that's another thing you say that is very important, guys. I can tell you, for me, there is a couple guys here in Germany. They came to me and said, because they know that I want to buy a Sherman, and they say to me, Nelson, we're going to buy a Sherman for Alibaba, and it's going to be not so expensive. And my answer was like this, my friend: what is my what I'm going to receive as guarantee? What I'm going to receive? And they say nothing. And I say, no, I prefer to pay a little more, and I can work with a company like Go Wheels, and I have my safety, I have insurance, I have something to, when I need to speak, I can call and I can say, hey, there is this problem, can you help me? And when I buy to Alibaba, I'm not going to have no more answers. I buy it. If I have a problem, is my
Right.
problem.
Yeah.
That's
It,
why I say to the guys, watch it. Alibaba is not so expensive, but you're going to lose everything
yeah.
because
And
and there's not going to be no communication.
it's also like the important thing is really, again, like the only way for us to communicate with the manufacturer on what we want is through the dealer. So if the
Hmm.
dealer can't support themselves, and then they said, okay, like I can't make a business out of this, everyone buys from Alibaba, then in the end we have no voice. And then,
Yeah,
like you said, there's no warranty, there's nothing. Like,
nothing,
if
nothing.
something breaks, how are you going to go tell a seller in China that he has to send you
Yeah.
like support? Like, he's just going to
No,
ignore you. There's nothing you can do.
that's why I think that is lots of money. Like we're talking about Sherman. Sherman is very expensive board, and to give so much money for something, I have to have a safety. I have to have a insurance. I have to have a way that I say, okay, I have a problem. I'm going to call this guy. That's for
It,
you guys.
yeah, it's I actually find it amazing that people are willing to go through, like, I mean, $3,000. That's more. That's like 50% more than the most no, it's 100% more than the most expensive iPhone you can buy. Like, would
Yeah,
you go to like a corner, and then a guy with a coat and say, you want to buy
hmm,
an iPhone? I guess
yeah.
you're not
Nobody
gonna do
do.
that.
Yeah, nobody's going to do that. That's why I say to everyone who want to start this, watch it. The other thing, there is a person who say, yeah, smart BMS. Yeah, that's one thing you need it, smart BMS. But sometimes you want to not expend so much. That's why that is a good thing.
Yeah,
Please.
this is something else that my friend EVX Mickey has been talking about. He made this video talking about it, and it's a very good thing to have, because it help you. It help a smart BMS is something that is part of the battery pack that would maintain, um like, monitor each of the individual cells to make sure that they're in good health, and that the battery pack is not going to have problems. It's not an expensive thing. It doesn't, it's only a few dollars more, and it's something that the manufacturer should definitely include as part of their wheel. Like, the only reason why they're not is they just don't know about it. Like, it's not a big saving. Like, one of these things like $5-10. It's not like they can't add that to a $2,000 wheel. It's not
Yeah.
because of the cost. It's just they just don't know. So it's, again, it comes down to communication. We need to have ways for them to recognize what we want. So, this is why it's important for us to kind of, direct ourselves, work together, and then say, okay, if you don't fix this thing, we're not going to buy. If you do it this way, this company is doing what we want, so we all buy from that company. Then we have a voice. Then they would say, okay, let's do the things that they want, because this other guy, like Veteran, is the best example. Veteran is a brand new company. They pay attention to quality, and they pay attention to what's right, and this is why they're successful. Like, one
Mhm.
year they sold thousands of wheels, and it's because of them. I think a lot of the company are understanding, like, okay, if I make a better product, people will buy.
That's exactly what the thing. I'm just going to put here what the rest of the persons put here. Yes, we have here. Let me see. Where are we? I don't want to. The BMS, especially the battery size. Yeah, the battery size. That's up. Everybody wants to go far and far and far and far, and sometimes you cannot do so many miles. You have a so big a monster in your hands, then you cannot take it anywhere because that is so heavy.
Yeah.
And maybe one time in a month you make lots of miles, and the rest you make every day maybe 5, 10 miles.
Yeah.
That is not. Yeah, please.
I was just gonna say my personal wish list. I don't know when we'll if we'll ever see this, is modular battery packs.
Yeah.
So if we can, and very few like personal electric vehicle have this, but it's great because where there is one, you see it on some e-bikes, you pull it out and you pop in a new one, and then now you're fully charged and you can go. I know there's you have to build an enclosure for the battery. You need to have it's complicated. I understand that, but I personally think that's the future if we can get there.
I hope that too, my friend. Just for us to go to the end, guys. First of all, my friend, I always ask this, but before I make this question, is like this: how many times do you ride for a week with your AUC? Every day?
Oh, I write
Every...
every day. Yes, I don't go a day without writing. No, like just I after I find some excuse like, oh, I need like do we need some grocery? I go around the corner. Like this morning, it's just like, you want breakfast? I go get breakfast. Like, there's always a good reason for it.
And for you, my friend, what do you like to happen in this year? What do you wish to happen this year?
I
You.
I
And,
I like to. I mean, I'm excited to see the new wheels coming, and I'm really looking forward to it. I like for more communication between the company and the community. That's the thing want more than anything else. That's good for everybody. It's good for the company. It's good for the community.
yeah, my friend, that's the important thing. That was a pleasure to have you here, my friend.
Thank you.
I think that was 1 hour and a little more. I have learned a little more about how to write the AUC safety. And I just want to ask you something. What do you use normally for the guys who ask me? Because that is the community who ask me. What do you use as a camera or something like that? Do you use a special camera because you have this stick, and then you have what camera do you use
I
normally?
was using for the selfie shot. I was using a Canon M6 Mark II, and I just recently upgraded to a Sony A7C. So I'm
Okay.
really excited about that one. But it's still very heavy. But I also use a GoPro. I also use like like I also use the DJI Pocket. That's another
Hmm.
camera I like. I different camera for different purpose. Like I said, I love camera, so
Hmm.
it's a
I
thing
love
that
it too,
I'm
my
really
friend.
into it. So
I have a lot too much here. I think that we are like we are never stopping. We are always going. My friend, thank you very much for coming. I want to say to everybody there, if you have a chance, I just going to leave it all the links from him, from his Instagram, from his Facebook, from his YouTube. And if you have a chance, go there, my friends. You have lots of videos, lots of information. He always sharing with you. Can you tell me, do you have a special day that you always put your videos out, or do you just put it out?
I try to do one every 2 weeks, and it's I don't have a specific date because
It's like
it's
me.
kind of hard. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm supposed to pull one up last Friday, and I'm behind, so I'm getting
Yeah,
to it.
like me, my friend. I never put
Yeah,
enough. Never make promise. I always try to do say like you. I'm going to put something out, but
yeah.
sometimes the time. Thank you all. If you have the chance, guys, go there, subscribe in his channel. If you have the chance, subscribe here. It's going to help us a lot. If you have the chance, give a like. The like is going to help all of us to go to the front place of the YouTube. That is automatic machine. The automatic machine is going to say, okay, this guy has lots of likes. Go there, and is going to help him to grow, to bring more stuff for all of us, and help us to know a little more about the AUCs, because I think the AUCs is going to be the big future for all of us if we stick together. If these companies think about us and about the safety, that I think they're going to take about, they're going to do something about it, and that we can maybe ride all of us together. Okay, my friends.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Nelson.
I thank you, my friend, to come here. I hope to see you again. I'm just going to put it out here, guys.